Welcome to the Stoner Simulation Station. I will now hypnotize you high. Your eyelids are getting heavy. You're feeling very sleepy, and lazy, and worthless, and hungry, and paranoid. And now you've got this sinking feeling like you've disappointed everyone you're close to. Because you have. This concludes our Stoner Simulation session. Learn more at AboveTheInfluence.com.
Sponsored by ONDCP and the Partnership for a Drug-Free America.
Yes.
What do you think about the anti-smoking, above the influence campaigns?
Well, I think that it's something that with the tobacco industry being a huge billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar industry, the anti-tobacco campaigns are something that basically is just a whitewash.
It's pot. Above the influence is the pot campaigns. The truth campaigns are the above the influence. Or truth is.
As you said, tobacco, man.
Oh, that's cool.
Alright, so I think that I think that for kids that never tried it or who are really young, elementary school age stuff, and haven't been exposed to it, I think the commercials, present the negative side and the negative connotation to using drugs. But at the same time, I think that it's something that's not, it's illegal, so I don't condone it, but you can't knock it until you tried it, which in so many cases, is true. So I think that a lot of kids and people in general have to try it for themselves to understand if they like it or not, and if they can ethically make that decision. Besides, the campaigns, then by all means don't do drugs. But I think the campaign probably may just hinder usage till an older age. But I think it definitely dampers usage in the elementary schools because it puts that fear in kids not to do drugs or smoke marijuana. But I think that it's something that they'll probably be exposed to at an older age in high school, and something that they'll probably end up trying for themselves. So as far as effectiveness, I think it's effective in education for young kids, elementary school, but as far as having an impact on anybody, I would say that was, above 6th or 7th grade, I would say it would be minimal.
He had just entered stage 4 colon cancer. The doctor told me not to marry him because he wouldn't survive much longer. In 1990, he started going through a new type of chemo for the cancer. It was experimental and the strongest type available at the time. He would go in for chemo for 5 weeks and then off for 1 week. He had diarrhea and threw up non-stop for a year. His body wasn't getting any nutrition. He had no energy, and he couldn't operate. He was consistently dehydrated. The doctor suggested he take pot pills, also known as Marinol. We ordered the pills and picked them up at the pharmacy. $250 was the total for 10 pills. Before I left, the pharmacist whispered to me that if I knew anybody who sold pot, that I should take that route instead of buying the expensive pills. So we took his advice and bought the pot. He would smoke half of a joint on the way to the hospital, and half of the joint on the way home, and half of the joint on the way home. It changed his life. There was considerably less stress on the way to the hospital. Since the chemo was cumulative, by week 3, he was already stressing, knowing that it would just get worse. He almost gave up on it altogether. After going on a marijuana regimen the pharmacist had suggested, his diarrhea lessened and eventually went away. He also began to keep his food down. The pot, it changed everything.